It's the DNP Project Podcast with your hosts, Dr. Molly Bradshaw and Dr. Tracy Vitale.
Welcome to the DNP Project Podcast, where we share tips, inspiration, and more. My name is Dr. Molly Bradshaw, and I'm the co-host of this episode and co-host of the DNP Project Podcast, along with my colleague, Dr. Tracy Vitale. Today, we're talking about the importance of revision turnover time. Let's talk a little bit about what that means. So when you're doing your DNP project proposal or writing your final project paper or preparing for your final project presentation, there is a lot of back and forth that's going to go on between you and your DNP chair or you and your DNP team. Setting expectations for these turnovers can help minimize frustration for both students and faculty. It takes a lot of time to write, but it also takes a lot of time to grade and to give good feedback. And when you have an efficient system, it makes your workload a lot easier, and it helps minimize frustration because you both know what to expect. The student knows how quick they'll get their feedback. The faculty knows what kind of turnaround time they're going to give. But for purposes of this discussion, my definition of revision turnover is just the time that lapses between faculty feedback and student submission of revised work, or the time that lapses between the submission of the work and the faculty feedback. And you have to have a conversation about this. And in some cases, it might be appropriate for as much as 2 weeks to go by before that revision turnover is exchanged. But in other cases, it may need to be rapid, closer to 48 or 72 hours. But that's a big difference, 2 weeks and 48 hours. So if you're not communicating and you're not setting those expectations, it's hard to know, do I email them? Do I follow up? What do I do? So you need to have that conversation, have that game plan put together. Now, one of my other tips for a DNP student is the faster you turn over your revisions when you get them back from a faculty member, the faster your DNP project timeline is going to go. Students have to be aware that for faculty, grading is an activity. So I'll just be honest and say for myself, I grade DNP projects. I work on DNP projects every Monday and every Thursday. That's the time that I've set aside to go through those, to give feedback, especially when I have a lot of students that have to go through. Now that's different for every faculty, but there is a dedicated time. So talk to your faculty about what their time frame looks like. Likewise, students do a majority of their work often on the weekends because they work during the week. They do a lot of work on the weekends. So I always want my students to have their feedback back if possible. It's not always possible, but I try to have it back by the weekend because I know that they're doing a lot of work. But again, that's got to be a conversation that takes place between the student and the faculty member. So we all work differently. As a student, I know it's frustrating when you're expecting feedback and like you're not getting it, you're not getting it, you're not getting it. So communicate to faculty, at what point can I send you an email to follow up? I tell my students sometimes, like, I need you to send a follow-up email. I need you to stay on me and keep me on point. So you just have to talk to your faculty about that. But have a system, set expectations, and make sure you minimize as a student your revision turnovers. It'll make your project timeline go a lot faster. Have a great day.
You've been listening to Dr. Molly Bradshaw and Dr. Tracy Vitale on the DNP Project Podcast. Check out the DNP Project YouTube channel at DNP Success on YouTube.